You know, there are some stories that just stick with you. They're about friendships that defy all the odds, time, money, even, being royalty. Well, today we're diving into one of the most beautiful of them all, the story of Krishna and Kuchela. It's an incredible tale about a devotion so pure that it was answered without a single word ever being spoken.
It really makes you wonder, right? Can a friendship you made as a kid, when none of the adult stuff mattered, actually survive when one of you becomes powerful and the other doesn't? That's the core question of this story. So let's see how it plays out.
Okay, so let's go back in time. Picture the forests of Vrindavan. This is where it all begins. We've got two young boys, and their friendship is completely pure, built on nothing more than shared games and a genuine connection.
And the contrast between them is, wow, it's stark. On one hand, you have Krishna, literally a divine being destined for greatness. And on the other, you have Kuchela, a boy from a poor family who was often hungry. But none of that mattered. They shared everything they had, and that simple generosity, that's what built the foundation of their bond.
This wasn't just about sharing a snack. This was a deep, soul-level friendship. There's this one powerful story where a starving Kuchela gives most of his own tiny meal to Krishna. I mean, that simple act of pure love left a mark on Krishna that he would never, ever forget.
So, time marches on, as it always does. And as the boys grow into men, their lives go in completely different directions. And it's this huge divergence that really sets the stage for the big test of their friendship.
I mean, this timeline really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? One becomes this incredibly powerful king, ruling a magnificent kingdom. The other is still in extreme poverty, struggling just to feed his own kids. You have to ask, how could a friendship possibly bridge a gap that wide?
So it's Kuchela's wife who finally pushes him. She can't bear to see their children go hungry anymore, and she begs him to go see his old friend, the king. You can just imagine Kuchela's inner conflict, right? His pride versus his love for his family. But in the end, love wins. He agrees to make the journey.
But he can't go empty-handed. I mean, you can't visit a king with nothing. So his wife borrows a tiny amount of coarse rice from a neighbor. This little bundle, wrapped in a scrap of cloth, was literally all they had to their name. But it was so much more than just rice. It was the symbol of his pure, unchanging love for his friend.
So with this humble gift in hand, Kuchela makes the long trip to the city of Dwarka. He finally gets to the palace gates. But, his biggest obstacle is still standing right in front of him.
Can you imagine this scene? The palace guards see this man in torn, ragged clothes and just laugh at him. You, the king's friend? No way. They block his path, and you just feel his heart sink. It seems like all hope is lost right there.
But somehow, word of this poor man at the gate reaches the king inside. And the second Krishna hears that name, Kuchela, everything changes. He doesn't send a guard. He doesn't wait. He literally leaps from his throne and runs barefoot right to the palace gates.
What happens next is just unbelievable. Krishna throws his arms around his friend, not caring about the dirt or the rags. And then, in this ultimate act of love and humility, he washes Kuchela's feet with his own hands, the highest honor you could give someone. The whole court is just stunned as he leads his friend to the royal throne and has him sit right beside him. So after this mind-blowing welcome, we get to the moment of the gift. The very thing Kuchela was so embarrassed about is about to become the most important part of this whole reunion. Krishna, just beaming with happiness, asks what gift he brought. Poor Kuchela is absolutely mortified and tries to hide the little bundle. But Krishna sees it, and his eyes just light up with pure joy as he gently takes it from his friend. He opens it up, and to Kuchela's complete shock, he pops a handful of that coarse, uncooked rice into his mouth. He declares it's the best thing he's ever tasted, and then he eagerly takes a second handful. And this is where the magic really happens. As Krishna goes for a third handful, his queen, Rukmini, gently stops him. See, she understood what was happening on a divine level. Each handful of rice that Krishna ate was a powerful blessing, granting Kuchela incredible wealth. 2 handfuls was more than enough for 2 lifetimes. A third would have been just too much.
So Kuchela stays at the palace for a few days, just soaking in the warmth of their reunion. He's so happy, so caught up in Krishna's kindness, that he completely forgets about his poverty and why he even came in the first place.
But on that long walk home, the happy bubble starts to burst. Reality sinks in. Yeah, he's overjoyed he got to see his friend, but he also feels like a total failure. He never once brought up his problems, he never asked for help. What on earth is he going to tell his wife?
He finally gets back to his village, and he can't believe his eyes. His tiny, crumbling hut is just gone, and in its place stands a magnificent palace. And then the doors open, and his family comes running out, dressed in beautiful clothes, with tears of joy streaming down their faces.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, a few things, really. It shows us that real friendship has nothing to do with money or power, that the real value of a gift isn't its price tag, but the love that comes with it. And maybe most importantly, that sometimes the deepest needs are understood and taken care of without you ever having to ask. It's all about unspoken grace.
This whole story leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about. What are the handfuls of rice in our own lives? You know, the small gestures, the simple gifts, given or received, that are actually priceless. It's definitely something worth thinking about.